Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wealth Talks, a podcast by a single mom for a single moms. Well, for single moms. I am super excited to be back. I know I've been gone for a couple of weeks. It's just because here in New York, we were flooded with COVID cases, and a lot of my staff was out, so I've been working my day job, but I am back on my regularly programmed schedule with episode number 5. And I know it's way overdue, but it's a really good episode. This episode is not technically focused on finances, which which the podcast is all about, but it's on a different side of finances. It's more about wealth, and this part that we're going to talk about is our mental health, because I feel that that is super important. And being that it's the beginning of the year, I know January is almost done, which it just started, so it's kind of crazy for me. But being that it's the beginning of the year, I figured that this is the best time to start putting into position things that you want to work on revolving yourself, because I feel like if yourself is not together, then your wealth and your finances will not be together. So today's episode, we're going to focus more on how to get our mental uh, wealth put together. And the way I just want to mention that when you talk about mental health and mental wealth and building a financial foundation, one thing that you're going to need, no matter whether you're building wealth or mental health or finances, you're going to need a strong community. You're going to need a village. You're going to need people that's going to be there to support you, people that are going to be there to give you valuable advice, not just any type of advice, but advice that's meaningful and valuable. And you could find those people anywhere. So for me personally, I'm not too much of a social bug. I'm not too much out. I turn to organizations to find my community, my village. And one of the organizations that I belong to, well, I don't want to really call it an organization, but one of the groups that I belong to is the morning meetup is with David Shantz, who is actually the reason why I started my podcast, and because he was teaching us the pros and the benefits of having a podcast, and the reach that you're able to go, how far you're able to go from a podcast, because now more people can hear what you have to say. So I'm part of his morning meetup, which is a community where entrepreneurs from all walks of life gather every morning at 8 a.m. or 7:45, and we just hash out the issues, not problems, the issues that you may be presented with starting your business, or continuing your business. And in December, he had a guest speaker on who was, their purpose was to get us pumped for 2022. And what the guest speaker asked us to do, an activity that he gave us, was to find one word that you want to, one word that will describe your year, that you want to put in place for your year 2022. And at that moment, my one word was focus. And focus is a big word for me, and it's a big umbrella for a lot of things that I want to do. But I chose focus because with all the things that I want to do, all the ideas and all the dreams that are in my head, sometimes and I don't know if this pertains to you, I start things, and then something else comes up and I jump on that, and then something else comes on and I jump on that, and you stop and look back and you're like, wow, the first thing I started, I never finished it. So I chose my word for 2022 to be focus, because this year I want to be better at focusing on what I started. So I started a podcast. I want to focus on it. I have a financial practice business. I want to focus on that. So those are the two things that I'm put into 100% of my focus on, so that I can finish it to the end and I can watch it grow and produce the results that I envision for it, that I dream of it to produce. So I brought that up because I feel like that the word focus is making me stop out of everything I'm doing and making sure that I am paying attention to what I want to do, what's important to me. And as a single mom, sometimes you put yourself to the back burner so that your children can have, or your job can have, or your family members can have. And I'm learning it, and I learned this a while, but I'm still learning and growing and maturing in this, that if you are not 100% happy or 100% if your needs are not put first, it's gonna crumble. It's all gonna crumble. If you're not happy, your kids are not gonna be happy. If you're not feeling productive, your job, what you're doing for your job duties will not produce results. So it's always important to take time to that find that moment where you can focus on yourself, because that's like the most important thing you could do for yourself is stop to focus on who you are, what you want, most importantly, because what you want is super important. I know you have kids and you have a responsibility to them, but what you want and what you need comes first. And it may sound a little bit selfish, but I'm telling you, if you put yourself to the back burner and not take care of you, you're going to harbor a feeling of resentment. You're going to resent everybody or everything that comes your way because you didn't have time to take you didn't make the time to take to foster and focus on what matters most to you. An activity that I do, I know I love activities. I'm like the activity queen. But an activity that I do, and I got this from my accountability team for my podcast group. One of the ladies on my team who she presented on one of her episodes of her podcast was the leadership activity that she does. And I actually I do this every single morning. I think I missed a couple of days, but don't tell nobody. But I do it every single morning where I write down 3 things that I strongly believe describe me. And I write those 3 things down, and then I write down 3 professional goals that I would like to work on for 2022. And after I write down my 3 professional goals, of course I write down my 3 personal goals. And I write those 3 goals down. Now I do this every single morning, the same goals, the same words, the same everything. After I write those 3 things down, those 3 categories down, I write down what's draining my energy to make my goals a reality, and what's also replenishing my energy to make my goals a reality. And what this does is this keeps me, believe it or not, it keeps me focused on task of what I want to work on. And I don't put down specific. I just put down. Wait, what am I saying? Let's back that up. I write this down every single morning, and every single morning I write it down. And even though it's the same thing that I write every single morning, I read it to myself because I feel repetition is key, and it becomes a part of who I am internally. So then I remind myself, for instance, my 3 words are authentic, a leader, and creative. So whenever I'm doing something that pertains to my podcast or my financial planning practice, I throw back those words. I'm authentic, I'm creative, and I'm a leader. And it's like a cycle that just keeps going, and it keeps pushing me to develop and grow. And after I do that exercise, I add a little piece to that. I take one day out of the week. It's usually a Thursday because I started this on a Thursday. And I write down everything that I've accomplished for the week. Because sometimes if it's not a big thing, we feel like we didn't accomplish anything. So it has to be big or it wasn't done. But I write down everything I've done, all the small things I did, because that reflection is it's pushing me to keep my focus on those 2 things that I want to work on. It's pushing me to accomplish my professional and my personal goals. So I write down everything I worked on for the week. And I take time to reflect. I read that to myself because I don't know what it does, but it just brings everything back full circle. And it's kind of like a motivational thing for me. It's like, oh, wow, you accomplished 10 small things. And even though it's 10 small things, those 10 small things are built into something to be bigger. Because oftentimes, if, like I said before, if it's not big, we're like, it really didn't happen, but it actually did. There's nothing big that happens without the small pieces to it. So I encourage you to, I know at last time I had you do an activity, but these activities really help. They really get you going. I encourage you to start these activities. The first activity is to identify what word you would like to focus, well, don't say focus, but what word you would like to I don't even know, we're going to say focus. What word would you like to focus on for 2022? And even though 2022, we're like almost done with January, every day is a new year, so don't even give me that. Write that word down. Write down three words that describe you. Then write down 3 professional goals you would like to work on. And of course, write down 3 personal goals you would like to work on. And then sit down and think about what is draining your energy and what is replenishing your energy. I mean, I actually love this topic, this activity. I'm so happy Karen shared it on her podcast. Um, and then after you do that, you take one day a week to reflect on everything you've accomplished that week. And you know what? You be kind to yourself. You give yourself a pat on the back. And if you didn't accomplish anything, you give yourself a pep talk. Because you taking the time out to work on your mental health is what's going to grow your wealth. Is what's going to sustain and solidify your financial foundation. And like I said, while this is not a direct financial literacy topic where we're actually talking about money or anything, we're talking about mental health, which is the best part of wealth that you can ever achieve. So this is your girl Sam here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, we're going to be back to our regular schedule where I'm dropping an episode a week on my channel. Everyone have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.